All right, so welcome to another round of Zoom trainings here. Today we are going to talk about 5 ways to stay relevant with your sphere. I think we all can agree that the number one source for most agents' business is sphere, referrals, and past clients, friends, and family. Yet, a lot of agents struggle with the conversations and the processes to get that done. So our goals for today are to talk about exactly that. So show of hands, who has struggled with ways to stay relevant in conversations with their sphere? Yes, so even the agents who have been in the business for many, many years have had their hands raised there. So awesome, then you are in the right place today. Just want to start with a little overview, kind of just, maybe you've seen some of this information in other trainings, but we do like to, just kind of reinforce some of that stuff. So I'm going to start with kind of the American move cycle as it stands right now. Right now, it used to be 5 to 7 years. The data behind it has shown that Americans are now moving every 7 to 10 years. And what that means is the day they close on their new property is the happiest they're ever going to be. It's when you have the greatest opportunity for referrals, for testimonials, all of that kind of stuff. However, literally the day after they move into their house, they are no further away from buying their next house than they will ever, their next property than they will ever be. Real estate agents are really good about staying in touch with them around the first few steps here, the first few months of that 7 to 10 years, whether it's dropping off a welcome gift or a thank you for working with me kind of a client gift, or even throwing a party for them, maybe a few months of staying in touch. People do business with people who are in the closest emotional proximity to them when they are going to when they're ready, when they've made the decision to make that move. Statistically speaking, that is usually in a 3 to 6 month time frame before they are ready to make that next move. So the challenge is we never know exactly when that's going to happen. So you can't, unless you have real crazy analytics working with you, you won't know when that's going to happen unless you are in constant contact with them. What has happened is, with the advance of technology, disruptors have been able to get in there, and people who would normally do business with us have been taken off the path to continue with us on their next move, and instead have been moved into their pipeline. Those are your Zillows, your Realtor.coms. Heck, even our website for the client acquisition program, that's what it's doing. It's taking them off of the path they would have gone. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust, but if something gets in the way, they can easily be taken off of that. And that's where real estate agents traditionally struggle. Questions, comments, anything so far? All right. It is my belief that agents, again, several of us raised our hands there, that there is a little bit of a call reluctancy around being able to stay in touch with our sphere. I do believe that at the core of that is not necessarily call reluctancy, because even for me, who is a natural introvert, I am comfortable talking to there. It's easier to talk to people I know, like, and trust, or that know, like, and trust me, than to call a complete stranger. So I don't feel, honestly, that real estate agents suffer from call reluctancy. I believe we suffer from value deficiency. So when we go to pick up our call, maybe we have our DT-D2 system set up in our command, we get to the S's and John Smith shows up, and you're like, I just don't even know what to say to John Smith. And so I truly believe it's not necessarily a call reluctancy, it's actually a value deficiency. We don't know what to say to offer them of anything of value. So that's what we're going to talk about today, specifically what we can do to offer them value so that we move out of the call reluctancy and the value deficiency into being able to offer items of value to our past clients, friends, sphere of influence. So our objectives for today are, we are going to, as the name of the class promises, we're going to share 5 strategies with you to stay in touch with your sphere with valuable touches. So these are, again, items of value, or at least going to help you with relevancy to them. Each one of these strategies, we have a system and some examples of strategies, and then it'll be on you as professionals to take those systems and examples and work them into your business in the best way that you see fit. Then finally, we'll finish off just with a discussion around any helping you overcome any limiting beliefs you may have still standing out there around putting a touch plan in place. Any other things that anybody was hoping to cover today? And again, if you're in a place where you can share your camera, I do love seeing some pretty faces on the right side of my screen here. I got multiple screens going, so I don't like to stare at myself too much here. But if you are in a place where you can go on camera, that'll be awesome. If not, then listen away. But please offer any insight you guys have. We do have the beauty of having a lot of, with Keller Williams, one of the things that I love most about us is that you have top agents who are willing to share both their strategies, their struggles, and the lessons that they have learned through this process. So share away if you have anything to offer that you feel will help out to the conversation. Sound good? Awesome. All right. So let's go dive right into it with the 5 strategies that we're going to specifically talk about. And we're going to dive into each one of these with some systems and examples of them as well. So the first one, people love to talk about or know information about their specific neighborhood, their area. So you want to provide hyper local real estate data to them. So that's the first strategy we're going to talk about. Second strategy we're going to talk about is providing more local and then national real estate data to help educate and inform them to offer valuable touch points to them. Then we're going to talk about a system that Jordan Freed shared with us at his, the first day of the My Freed Life, the bonus session that I had for us, getting your sphere to actually call you. We're going to talk about what you can do to meet and mingle with client events, share some successes and some ideas around that. And then we're going to finish off with a strategy to educate your sphere, to be that knowledge broker, especially as we move into a skills-based market where you don't just literally have to have a pulse and you can sell houses. You actually need to know what you're talking about. Many of us are thankful for those days coming back as well. So those are 5 strategies we are going to talk about today. The first one, we're going to, again, show you right into it. So providing that hyper local real estate data, that is going to start with command. That is going to be leveraging the neighborhood, the monthly neighborhood nurture as that tool to passively stay in touch with your database and provide, again, hyper local real estate data. So anybody on the call using the monthly neighborhood nurture at a high level, or anybody want to share any success stories from that? Nobody? Well, I'll share one then. So I was talking to Jason Bell last month, and there was a little bit of a hiccup with his, he was using actually the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. And what that does, rather than every month, it was sending it out every 14 days. That has always been a little more glitchy than the monthly neighborhood nurture, in my opinion. But anyway, it glitched and it was showing sales data from like 3 years worth of information. And one of his clients was on there and was like, am I selling my house? I didn't know it because it was showing up as an active listing or at least it was showing up in the feed of, active listings in area. And that prompted him to call. And then it turned into, an opportunity to say, well, where are you thinking of moving to next kind of conversation? And then he had another one when he turned it off. So he said he turned everybody off of the biweekly nurture and put them onto the monthly neighborhood nurture and resent it out to everybody. And he got a listing right out of that from again. Well, it started off by saying, hey, I didn't get my report. And then that turned into a conversation with we are actually thinking of selling. So they do work. And why I love it is it is a passive touch. And then you have the information behind it of who is who's opening it, what they're looking at, all that kind of stuff. So if you're not using the monthly neighborhood nurture, I would definitely star asterisk that as a way to get a nice, get 12 passive touches in there that are providing absolutely relevant information. So everybody has this. This is not a smart plan that you have to build. You may have to add it to your library though. So we're going to start there. So if you don't have it, you would first go to the library and you would search under, you would just search monthly and then your monthly neighborhood nurture. You're going to want the one that is the Keller Williams as the author. You will just then add that smart plan to your library, and that will go ahead and put that there if you don't have it. I would, if you do have it already and you try to go add it, this gray, it'll be grayed out like mine is here. That just means you already have that smart plan in your library. This smart plan is a very simple, it's really, I guess technically it's 3 steps. It runs the smart plan, and then it triggers the smart plan to re-trigger, and then it reruns the smart plan. So it's a very simple smart plan. It sends out a clean report on a monthly basis, but you do need to have information to get this out there. Questions so far?
You said when we click on it, if it's darked out, we already have it, right?
Yep, that means you already have it in your library, yes. Yep. So then once you do have it in your library, you will then be able to search for that. So I call it KWRI, monthly neighborhood nurture, and then you can go in and see what the actual steps are to it by clicking on the pencil. And it literally, like I said, it sends the email, it sets a delay for 30 days, and then it repeats the smart plan. Just a side note here, any KW managed smart plans, there's very limited edits that you can make to it. So for example, the birthday smart plan, there's not much that you can do to it. You can't change any triggers. I mean, you can't change any of the actual steps. You can only change the text message that goes out. So you'll see on the right-hand side here, these are the only changes that you can actually make to a KW managed smart plan. So you can change the text messages. You can't change any of the other, you can't add steps, take away steps, or anything like that. So what you'll do with this smart plan is what you do need a physical address for the person, and then at least one neighborhood to be attached to it. So how you would do that is hopefully you have everybody's contact information. And then if you don't, you have a very simple conversation that I feel is a pretty painless conversation that you can get that information from them. You can use that, you can use a conversation around, hey, I am just looking to update my information. I want to make sure that I am intentional with some of my conversations with my closest friends, family, and contacts. Melissa, I have your birthday as, I don't even know what it is. Sorry, Melissa, I should know this, but I don't. Let's say July 15th. I want to be really intentional about sending you a birthday card for next year when that comes up. Would you mind sharing your address with me? Cool. She shares it with me. And then, hey, another thing I want to do is I want to be able to send you information about real estate that's going on in your neighborhood. Would you be open-minded to sharing your email information with me? And then that is a pretty painless conversation. You're not trying to sell them anything. You're just trying to offer them value, and you're doing it with, hey, I send you a Facebook message that says happy birthday. I want to go a little above and beyond that for my closest friends and family. So that's what that conversation looks like to obtain any of that information that you're missing. Bailey, you have a question?
So I have that birthday smart plan set up, right, and everything, and it works out great. I love it. My only thing is there a way that I can get it to send me a text message with whose birthday it is?
You cannot add any additional steps to that. However, what you can do is if you are using the Command Mobile app, you can use that. right on the home screen of the Command Mobile, there's a section specifically that says birthdays. If you click on that, it shows you all of your upcoming birthdays for like the next 30 to 60 days in there.
Okay, is there any reason that the app would log me out like almost every time I use it, or should it just stay logged in?
It could just be every time it updates, it's logging you out. You can use, yeah, sometimes it just every time it updates, it does kick you out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So that's a conversation to get any missing information. Then once you have that information, you're going to go in there, and let's just take this Mr. Adam here as an example. You got to make sure you have his address. So I have his physical address in there. And I'm going to go ahead and add a neighborhood. So if it didn't automatically identify itself to a neighborhood, so it knows that 67 Kent Drive in Seekonk, Massachusetts, it doesn't have a specific neighborhood that it's tied to. And that is going to happen with more rural locations. What I would then do is find it on a map and pull some neighborhoods around it. You're going to use that same technique for a neighborhood that may be a smaller neighborhood, because the report will not get sent out if there's no real estate information going on in their neighborhood on a monthly basis. So like, for example, where I live, it may go 3 months before there's any real estate activity because there's only 50, 60 houses in my neighborhood. So I've pulled 2 or 3 around me to make sure that that an email goes out on a monthly basis.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So why can we not just put in a specific zip code? So what I've noticed here in Myrtle Beach is not every neighborhood is in there. So I don't think it's pulling from IDX.
It does not pull from IDX. So this is through a partnership with Nextdoor. So that means that if there is no neighborhood available, like if there's no Nextdoor neighborhood, then it will not be able to pull a neighborhood.
Okay.
In that case, what I would recommend would be to pull some surrounding areas in there to make sure that something is going out. So here's an example, so I can zoom in. This house just happens to not be in a neighborhood. As a perfect example of that, it's not in a subdivision type area. I would then instead just start pulling a few neighborhoods around to make sure that something is showing up for them on a monthly basis. So now that's pulling in the information around here. That's going to make sure that something does go out to that contact on a regular basis.
Okay.
So it should automatically connect. If you have their address in there, their zip code, their city, their state, it should automatically pull in the neighborhood if there is a neighborhood there. If not, you've got to manually go select them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, questions?
So Chris,
yeah,
if we're setting that out and we're having these conversations with our clients and maybe they've mentioned that they're interested in a specific neighborhood, how do we go ahead and send them the monthly neighborhood nurture for that one?
Yeah, so what I would do for that is, let's just say, I'll just pull landfall as an example. Or if you'd have to know a specific example, if it was somewhere in Florida or something like that. But in this case, this is a Massachusetts client, past client of mine. They wouldn't automatically be connected to something like landfall. So instead, I am just going to search by the neighborhood if I know the name of the neighborhood. And you can start see it as it come in. So I can just pull in landfall. So now landfall, in addition to where they actually live, is going to show up on their monthly neighborhood nurture. Does that answer that question, Nancy?
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. No, that's a great way to do it. This is what you can do. You could also use this kind of strategy for leads that you haven't necessarily had any luck really connecting with. You could send them, if you can also use, like Nancy mentioned, you can use this for, someone who's looking for a vacation property in Hawaii, and you know exactly where they're looking in Hawaii. If you pull that neighborhood in, it's going to send them a monthly neighborhood nurture with that.
So a follow-up question was, why would I want to use Command to do this versus the MLS?
Well, if it's something like Hawaii, you're not going to be able to pull anything from the MLS. I would say is the biggest one that would, because it now becomes a national and international opportunity for us. And if they're already in command, you don't have to add them to MLS to get that done. And you have their permit, keeping them in as few systems as possible. But great questions. So now once the report is set up, I did just want to show you what a sample of what that looks like. So let me go ahead and pull another one over here. So this is what that report is going to look like. So on a monthly basis, and it's clockwork. Like if I go through, I received this report on August 28th. I will receive another one on September 28th. Now, of course, if you send it on the 31st, it's not going to send it on the 31st of February because I hope that day never comes. But as an example, it's going to send it as close on a monthly basis as possible. So it's going to pull from your marketing profile here at the top. So whatever you have in your marketing profile for your logo and your contact information, that's going to show up there. And then it's going to break down each neighborhood at a time. So you'll see neighborhood trends 1. So I have myself set up on 3 different neighborhoods. Each one of these is, this isn't a recent update that they've had there. Before it just said Willowwick and the number of houses there. So it shows a little map snippet of it. And then if they click on Explore Neighborhood, it's going to bring up the active listings in that neighborhood.
Quick question. So if for a particular person, if we're putting in several different neighborhoods because their neighborhood's not in there, is that what their report's going to look like? It's going to have several different as opposed to just one.
But if they click on any one of them, this one report has all of them in it. So now you can see at the top here, I've got Willowwick. I've also got Tanglewood. I've also got Mason Borough Forest. So it's one long email.
Yeah.
But the actual physical link goes to one website.
Okay.
And then the cool part is, what's that?
I have a quick question. Maybe I'm a little confused. So when you're putting in the address, would you put in where they're looking to purchase or where they live? Because you could get a sale.
So that would be whatever, you could put both in there. So their physical address, you're going to put in what you have as far as where they actually live. But you can also, if you know that they are looking somewhere else, you could add that to the monthly neighborhood nurture report as well.
So like previous customers who have already bought, say, even if it's a best investment home, would you put that in there? So then they'll see
absolutely some other investments in the area. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So so again, they're going to get a report like this. They click on a listing. That's going to bring them to your KW agent site. And then the great part about that information, again, this is going back, so playing a little bit into what Nancy's question was. I have the analytics to know that this person opened this and what they looked at. So I'm going to go back into my command. And if I look at me, it shows that, well, first it shows the email went out yesterday. So here's the timeline. So they've made a lot of improvements to the timeline and the information that's on here. Now so that went out yesterday. I viewed the neighborhood 1121. I viewed another neighborhood, and then I started looking at actual listings. So you don't get notified of this, but it will show up in other statistical reports that show that who opened and who clicked on Smart Plans. What other questions do you guys have there? So I would highly recommend, if there's one takeaway, you probably could just leave the class right now. Hopefully you'll stay on. But if you implement just this is going to lead to extra conversations every month and extra transactions every year just by sending out this report.
So if we can't see who has opened it short of going into contacts and looking at each contact, I want to suggest a tag that when you set them up on monthly neighborhood nurture, that you put the date of the month that you set them up so that you can then query it for anybody who you set up on the 15th and you can see that list. That's definitely a great idea. There is also a report in here. So if I go to reports, again, bonus, this is like 5.1 of how you can stay relevant here, because then this is going to give you info. So if I go under reports, which I will also add that reports
this part of reports works really well. A lot of the other sections up here aren't that functional. But if I go to emails and if I go to smart plans, it's now showing the report, and I can see who has opened what smart plan, who's clicked on what smart plan. So I can see that's me right there. I opened the monthly neighborhood nurture today.
Email them because our listing agreement won't be.
Thanks, Chris. That's really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any other questions on strategy number 1, which is the hyper-local real estate expert? And again, the bigger thing is making sure you have the relevant information in there. All right, let's go back to our. All right, so the next one was providing local real estate data and trends with them. So everybody who's on this call today, you all have access to some unbelievable reports for free and unbelievable data from our multiple listing services. They look a little different per MLS, but all of this information is available to you. So on the left-hand side of the screen there, you are seeing the local market update report that is just pulled from Brunswick County. That shows the full report itself is going to show the sales data by single family, then by townhouses, then I think multifamily might show up on there too. It's going to give you month over month and then year over year data in it. So that's one thing again. So this is going into your skills and you're becoming that market expert and providing this data and information to the public so that they're not getting all of their information from the national media that is, that's just going to say sales are down 16%. They're not going to give you the information that's going behind it. So you can, again, swoop in and be that expert. Everybody also on here, I believe, unless they've found a way to skirt the system, is a member of the National Association of Realtors. They provide monthly data as well. And then what I would recommend doing with that to use this to stay relevant is add your own analysis to it, like we talked about. So what does it mean? So yeah, pending sales are down, listings are down, days on market are creeping up. Inventory, yes, it's up from 1.4 months of inventory to 1.9. That's still ridiculously shifted to a seller's market. So then you can educate them on, a balanced market is 4 to 6 months. So be that knowledge broker of that information. So anybody on here know where to find this information?
I was going to ask you where.
I was hoping that was going to be the case. I am prepared for that. So if you go to, so Brunswick has a place as well. And I also know that Cape Fear Realtor has it right on their website. So if you're a member of Brunswick, Jacksonville has their own data report, but the information is there. I'm going to show you guys both the Cape Fear board as well as the Coastal Carolina board where you can find that. So let me get out of that again. And if you go to capefear.realtor, and if you go up on the top menu bar, you have Industry 360. And right in there, and again, this is not behind any login information, so you do not need to be a member of that specific board to get this. Go to local county market updates, and you have 7 counties that are available here. You have 3 years worth of data that is available. If I click on July, that's going to show me all of the single family sales, going to give me 2021 versus 2022. Also going to give me the year-to-date information. And then, like I said, because you have 3 years worth of this data, you can then go back. So you can create data points all the way from 2019 to 2022 to show kind of where things are, where they're at. And again, tell the whole story behind the numbers with that. So again, this is available for free. You just go in here. You can even take a snapshot of this, show this on your social media, and again, tell the story behind it of what it all is meaning. So again, that's right there on the Cape Fear board. If I go back into that, you also have the region wide. So this pulls a tri-county report. So if I go into that, I can click on that. It's going to show me the tri-county sales in total there. So again, useful information so that you can be that market expert. Where you can find it on the Coastal Carolina one, if you are in South Carolina. So it's at the ccarsc.org. If I go under member resources, click on market stats, their reports, in my opinion, are a little more thorough. If I go down into that, I can then click on the July 2020 market report. It's going to pull up a 13-page report that shows a lot of the same information, just in a little more graphical form here. So you can see listings are down, pending sales would then be down, closed sales down, days on market creeping up, month supply up, but still, again, pretty low. So that breaks down single families, condos, then it gets into new listings, pending sales. I think there's even a list of sales price in here somewhere. Percentage of list price received. So again, free information that is going to make you the market expert of choice for when they are looking for this information. Questions?
Chris, does this update right at the end of the month?
I believe it's probably like the 15th of the month after. That's usually when most organizations have to have their info out.
Okay.
Questions? Melissa, you had your hand up, I believe.
I did. I have two. One is this a more updated lore?
I would say it's a little different than the lore, because the lore is going to compare Keller Williams versus the market. It's not comparing the market to the market.
And my other was, where did you show it in BCAR again? Because you went fast.
I did not show it in BCAR, but you could pull Brunswick
Thank goodness.
You could pull Brunswick from the Cape Fear board.
Even if you're not a member.
Yep. That was not behind any login info at all. Yep. And then the last one I wanted to show for that local and national data is the NAR. So NAR.realtor, if you log in with your NAR credentials, and you go to research and statistics, the one that I like the most, I think provides the best graphical information, is the presentation slides. So if I click on that, it did take me a couple minutes when I looked at it the other day. So be patient, but it's going to pull up a PDF report that shows the state of the economy from a real estate perspective. So there are two different reports that were featured presentations. Each one of these reports has they have standard dates behind it. But if I click into it, this is from the NAR's chief economist. It goes over just, economic information just from the national economy as a whole. Then it does get into residential real estate, showing the seasonality adjustments of the real estate trends, pending home sales index. So this is a lot of information. If you look at the slides from MegaCamp, or if you saw any of the state of the real estate from that, a lot of these slides are in there, but that's only twice a year that we get that opportunity. These are available every month, showing, inventory higher, but still way below anywhere we've been in 20 years. So again, all information designed to help you be the local market expert. Questions, comments? All right. So let's talk about strategy number 3. So strategy number 3 is, again, this is taken from Jordan Freed at the first day that he talked about with us. And this is a strategy used to get your sphere to actually call in to you. So if anybody's done like a reverse bold or anything like that, or has attended anything like that, it's when you're getting people to call into you rather than you making the calls out to them. And the way you can do this, he gave us 3 different options for this. And what he did in his strategy was each month rotated which one of the three he was doing. So he did the 10th of the month. He did a call-in day where he prompted everybody to call in to enter to win prizes. And then he always made sure that you answer some kind of question that's relevant to data you're trying to collect for a bonus entry into win that. And then you can promote, the strategy would be then to promote and draw that winner live on social media. So you can use something, the one that I like is, let's see if I can find it here. The one that I use is, why can't I find it? I had it up. Where did it go? Wheel of Names, that's what it is. So you have wheelofnames.com. This is the one that we've used before for some of our market center events. So wheelofnames.com. You just enter in everybody's name who was called, or multiple times for people who have multiple entries. You click on spin the wheel. You do that live on social media. You let everybody know, hey, I'm going to be drawing a winner tonight at 6 p.m. on my Facebook page or on my Instagram live, however you're going to be doing that. And then you can do that same thing. You can partner with local vendors to help kind of cross promote, have them have their sphere and people call into them as well. So again, this in days, again, is prompting your sphere to call you. I did a similar thing when I was selling houses back in Rhode Island. I had a strategy called Guess the List Price, where people would then call in to guess the list price of a house that I had coming on the market. And again, so I was prompting people to call me. It's a lot easier than having to make all those calls out, and a little less awkward, again, because you're going to provide something to them, which is hopefully the chance to win a prize, but you're also getting information about whatever your bonus entry here is. So that could be, give me your birthday, or which local, which painter do you use? I'm building a vendor list. Which do you own a business? Again, it's an opportunity for you to provide relevant information with them. So option one was that call in. So that's the one, you just give them a phone, you give them your phone number, you say, here, call me between the hours of 10 and 2, and you can be entered into this. Option number two is an opt-in. This would be just a Google form or something along those lines that is free to create, and you use that same thing. So many of you, especially anybody in North Carolina, is seeing this being done at the market center level tomorrow, where you're going to have a chance to win a cruise by opting in or calling in and speaking about Bold and signing up for at least step one. If you full commit, you get bonus entries as well. And then option number 3 is going to be drop in. So again, he rotated these on a monthly basis. So the other cool part about this is these create multiple opportunities to remind them too. So now, rather than calling Carla and saying, hey, Carla, how's everything going? Great. How's the family? Awesome. Cool. And then awkwardly trying to ask, who do you know who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Now your call is, hey, Carla, we're having, that call day where you get a chance to win a $100 Lowe's gift card. All you need to do is call in. If you can call me next week from, on Tuesday from 2 to 4, you get entered in to win that. So from my perspective, that's a lot easier of a call. And now I am not value deficient. I've got something to talk to them about. Questions, comments, concerns. And then, the third one is the drop in, where they come by your physical location. You give them some kind of pop by thing to come in, and then also give them the opportunity to win bonus opportunities there. And he did these, monthly rotations. So every 3 months, he was doing each one of these. Questions? All right. Turbocharge, strategy number 4 is going to be winning with your client events. So client events are a great opportunity, again, because just like with the last example, each one of these events should give you 3 to 5 opportunities, if not more, to reach out and contact your database. So, just there's some examples here, and I'll share one of the examples that I used on this. And again, thinking these through, how can you leverage others to help you with the cost on these? So I'm a big fan of leveraging other people's events too. So for example, all of us do Pi Day coming up rapidly for us here. We'll have Pi Day coming out in November, where if you're new to Keller Williams, what we do is the week of Thanksgiving, we make available for pickup pies to our friends, our clients, our sphere. All they need to do is usually come by our office and pick that up, but you get to piggyback on the market centers putting together all that information, ordering the pies, all of that. All you need to do is call your database and remind them. So Pi Day, as an example, gives you, multiple touches, multiple opportunities to touch them. And again, your first call is, hey, you might want to save the date. We've got Pi Day coming up on November 22nd. I don't know if that's a date. Don't quote me on that. I know it's available, but I don't know the exact date here. Then you've got, an opportunity to remind them. Now you've got an opportunity after thanking them for coming by. So again, rather than making awkward type communications with them or just not feeling comfortable or value deficient, you have the opportunity to offer something of value on each one of these. So Pi Day is, again, one that you can leverage the market center to help you promote. Shredding event, that's a very popular one. It kind of goes, if you look at the calendar, it offsets. If I was going to do 2 events a year and didn't want to do anything else, you have November for your Pi Day, and you've got a shredding event around tax time. It's kind of the traditional where we see the popularity in those 2 events right there. You've got, if you've got 5 touches out of each one of those, you've got 10 touches built in without even really trying to work too hard. One of my favorites, one that I had a huge success with, was a cooking demo. And what I did with that is we rented out a facility. I had a friend who was a professional chef. I had invited all my past clients, friends, family to that cooking event. He demoed the recipe, and they had the food actually ready for, buffet style after that. The cool part about that is, even though the event cost between the venue and the food and his time there, that cost about $2,000, I had it 100% paid for by my partners. So again, think of, if you're inviting specifically people who already know you, like you, and trust you, your friends, your past clients, your sphere of influence, your family, your vendors will throw their money at you for those type of events. They will just gladly love to get in front of people because they don't have to go out and cold call any of these people. If they're getting your endorsement, they're going to use them. So again, I had that 100% paid for by my partners on that. Another great event is Photos with Santa. I've seen kind of more recently, actually, it was one of the ideas from Mega Campus here. One of the breakouts was they combined Pi Day with Photos with Santa and did them all together at the same day. So come by, pick up a pie, and also get your photos with Santa. Again, great opportunity to stay in touch with them. Movie premiere. I've seen lots of success stories with that. As far as, getting, a new Minions movie or whatever's coming out, and renting out the entire theater to have that. Key with that is you have to have some way to touch base with them ahead of time or before, usually not after as much, where they can, take a picture with you, take a picture in some kind of photo frame, again, to use that for social media purposes. Downside of that is during the movie, it's not like you can go around and meet and greet and mix and mingle with people during the movie. So you lose, an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on the length of the movie. What other ideas you guys think of for client events, or have you guys seen or done?
You could probably do something similar for Easter, whether it's like an Easter egg hunt or pictures with the bunny.
Yep. Pictures with the bunny. I love, especially if this is more towards a geographic farming type thing, but like doing a Easter egg hunt in the neighborhood. I think that's a great idea too. But yeah, you can definitely do pictures with the Easter bunny. Maybe that same thing. If you're looking to do 2 client events a year, you've got a few months in between those.
I've done Girl Scout cookies. I would get Girl Scout cookies and put little tags on there with like corny little sayings. And I would everybody would get like Thin Mints or Samoas or whatever. And I would just drop them off.
I love that one. That's a great one. And then kind of part 2 with this is more for those people who are looking to build a cause and a brand in with their client events, piggyback with an event that's already happening. We had up the Christy Hill team up in Jacksonville. I want to say for the Adopt a Family that last year, they adopted like 150 like presents, like tags they basically took an entire tree from Adopt a Family and filled it out just themselves. Another one, looking at creating your own cause and your branding. That's going to take a little bit more legwork up front. But, whatever, I'll make sure, obviously, it's going to align with what's important to you as the core of your being. We have several examples with that. We have Melissa Martin locally who does that with her adopting a dog for every sale that she has. She makes sure that she's using those events to do it. And then both of our market centers have the opportunity to sponsor a Miracle League Day. I think that's, both of the market centers are in places where there are Miracle Leagues. And you can say, hey, we're going to sign up and I'm going to bring 30 volunteers to that event. And you can basically take the whole day and invite your friends and family in your sphere. They will definitely love that opportunity to help that out. So again, just to get the brain flowing on ideas for that. Questions on events? All right. And then the last one that I have is educating them. So again, going back to us being in a skills-based market, we have the opportunity to educate the consumers through some of these options that are out there. So one of the first 2 on there. So if you go out, and the great part about these first 2, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor Workshop, as well as My First Home Workshop, those are built for you. So you don't even have to build the slide decks for either one of those or the content for those. So if you go, so the first one, as an example, if I go to MREI, if I click on that, that's going to bring me out to Keller Inc. And that is going to bring me that here under resources. So if I go to kellerinc.com and I go to resources and I click on Millionaire Real Estate Investor, the last 3 things down here, you have an investor workshop presentation, investor workshop client workbook, and instructions for investor workshop. So that's going to give you the entire game plan for having an investor workshop. And you can even name it as, it's just for your VIP clients, hold it at the market center, hold it at your house, wherever you want to do. It's an opportunity to, again, to provide relevant information. The other one in that, back into my slides, not there. My First Home Workshop. So again, same thing. If I go to, why is my link not working on that? If I go to KW Connect, so again, you do have to log into with your Keller Williams login. And if I go to the search bar, and if I search for My First Home, is this going to show up? Win Big with Seminars, Your First Home. I click into that and I go to materials. It's going to give you the entire playbook here for, again, all the resources. It's got a calculator in there as far as how much they can afford. Gives you the slide deck on let me just download it here. So it's going to give them a worksheet and a timeline. Of why they want to work with you, questionnaire. And it's going to make me want to sign in. But again, you'll have access to all of that information. If I click on the client, the agent tools, there's the slide deck that you can completely customize. I want to say it's about a 60-page slide, a 60 slide deck presentation that goes through the entire home buying process. If you want more information on that, if you click on our YouTube channel, I did do a course on that a couple months ago, specifically on an action plan for running that seminar. And then the final idea that we had in there is, again, both of our market centers. We happen to be in a place with a big vacation home second market. You can put together an entire workshop on what that looks like as far as what they need to do, what they need to think about, maybe that they aren't aware of if they're, not in a vacation home, but maybe they want a vacation home in that market. So again, just becoming that expert, that local expert of choice for them. So that's what I had for today. I got 2 questions for you. I guess technically 2.5 on there. Question number 1, did we deliver on your objectives that we had set for today? Hopefully we added something of value to your business plan. And then the other question I'll have for you is, I would love some ahas, some takeaways. What is one thing that you are going to implement? And then when are you going to implement that by? So share away, please.
Hey, Chris, what is your YouTube channel name?
If it's Innovate You, you can also find it on innovateagents.com. And if you click on education and training, it's right under there. And that is where we record all of the trainings and post them. It's going to take a little bit longer nowadays to get these up there. YouTube is really starting to crack down on any names, phone numbers, emails being in videos that they get posted. So I have to now go through and scrub where, even though it's my information, I have to go scrub that from, I have to blur it out so that it doesn't show anybody's contact information in there. So I will process that and get that out there. So what's the one thing you're going to implement in your business, and by when?
One thing I'm going to implement is I'm going to start looking at the email matrix, because I started doing the monthly neighborhood nurture. And so I didn't realize that we could actually go see who viewed it. So I'm really looking forward to do that. Awesome. Cool.
What else?
I think I'm going to piggyback on that pie event that we do out of the office and use that opportunity to be like, hey, we have a big event coming up. I want to make sure I have your phone number, your email, get all that info so that you don't miss out on the invitation.
That's a great, yes, I didn't even think of that. Thank you, Robin. I was thinking, because the usual conversation is around the beginning of the year. Hey, one of my 2023 goals is to stay in contact, but I love that piggybacking, getting that information with another event you're having. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'll put that on
my September, October big rocks.
Love that. Who else?
I definitely like the Pi Day as well, but I've been wanting to post something as far as like education with the market stats. So that's very helpful.
Yeah. And again, they're available for you for free to be that market expert. Love it. Mm-hmm. Give me one more.
Mine is always smart plans. I like learning as much about them as I can. I started using them more on a higher level, and I've gotten to where now I get replies back from people. So it's pretty cool to have that extra communication between them.
Yeah, the cool part is when it's working, when it doesn't work. Like when it doesn't go out, you know that's when it's working. We used to, like, again, I shared with you guys the guess the list price that we used to do. And if we didn't have a listing for, you know, a couple weeks for whatever reason, I would start getting messages that's like, hey, when are you going to have another contest for guess the list price? So that's when you know it's working. So I love that. All right. Well, thank you guys for your time. I know that you have a lot of opportunities, and I do truly appreciate that you chose that opportunity to spend that with me today. Just one final thing that I have here, just some upcoming classes. September's calendar is out there. I will be in Myrtle Beach on September 8th at 12 p.m. with a class called We Have a Resource for That. It's going to really talk about all of the resources that are available within Keller Williams and then also Keller Williams Innovate. I'll be doing that same class in Wilmington on the 19th. And then on the 14th, we'll be having a Zoom only class like this, going over the two primary KW apps. Your apps are better than you think. So we'll be talking about both the consumer app and the command app. And then on the 28th of September, we are going to dive into designs. And I believe last check, there was like 150,000 different combinations of designs that you can use. So we're just going to take a look at some of those. So those are the upcoming classes we have for September. October, I don't know yet because they'll be a little different because we have both in both market centers as well. So,
hey, Chris.
Yeah.
How long are those classes? It just says at 12. Are they an hour-long class or?
At most an hour. I'm trying to get 45 minutes to an hour for most of mine. Okay. For unless they're, you know, longer trainings. But yeah, those would be an hour. Plan on an hour.
Perfect.
Yep. Awesome. Again, thank you for your time. And I hope to see you guys around soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.